It's an understatement that learning League is tricky. The skill curve as you travel through your first 50 levels can be rough. This is because as you play more games, Riot matches you with better players, and in turn can leave you behind in the ever-increasing skill of matchmaking. This becomes extremely apparent if, when you hit level 30, you dive straight into Ranked. Ranked by its nature will force you to improve your mechanics or drop further down the ladder. With the amount you need to learn, you might start thinking that you suck at League of Legends. So I've composed a list of 7 key mechanics you should learn as a new and improving player in order to play better and pick up some more Ws. Do note, all the skills listed in this list will improve your gameplay, but if any feel uncomfortable, then change your key bindings around, and don't feel like you have to do every one of them to be successful. Starting off, we're looking at attack moving. Now I know some experienced players will be scratching their heads at this as to why I put it last in this list, as it is very crucial to kiting and winning fights. And simply put, it's not as necessary as the other mechanics on this list. Attack moving is using the A button and right clicking in order to auto attack someone faster and to not cancel movement commands. Commonly paired with phrases such as kiting or fighting backwards, it allows you to create space between you and your enemies while not risking a misclick and accidentally moving towards them. By auto-attacking faster, I'll explain more when we talk about animation cancelling. Attack moving can be used by everyone, but is more of an essential skill for auto-attack based champions such as ADCs and fighters. Next up, we're talking about the lock screen. Many people will say that lock screen gaming is bad and hurts your gameplay, and they're not wrong. Having a movable screen will provide so much more info than if it was locked in place. Even panning towards the river when you're side laning can tell you the enemy jungler is ganking a second earlier than if your screen was fixed on top of you. But for many players, having to constantly reposition the screen during intense fights can be a chore. So I'm going to suggest an alternative that I like to call active scouting. To preface this, I reached Diamond in multiple seasons and roles using this technique because it feels more comfortable to me than free cam, mostly because 50% of the game I will have lock screen on. The Y button is my best friend here as it toggles the lock screen. In lane I will constantly press Y, check my surroundings and Y again to lock back to my character. Is it faster than having permanent free cam? No. Does it mean I have the same response time to things happening on the map? Yes. If you're confident with free cam already, stick with it and just hold the spacebar whenever you need to fix the camera over you. But if you are a lock screen gamer, introducing active scouting and the Y button will improve your awareness. And coming in hot at number 5, we have animation cancelling. Every ability in auto attack has 2 parts to them, a front and a back animation. Front animation is the part leading up to dealing damage, and the back animation follows once the damage is dealt. Unless the spell has a fixed timer, most abilities can be cancelled. If you cancel an ability or attack during the front animation, no damage will go through. If you cancel during the back animation, however, the animation is cut. This allows you to squeeze in more damage in a time frame and can be the deciding factor in a lot of fights. Entire characters are designed around animation cancelling. Riven and Renekton spring to mind for having super long back animations which need to be cancelled in order to pump out their damage. Animations can be cancelled by most things. Inputting a new attack, ability or movement command all work. I can't think of a single champion in the game who couldn't gain from animation cancelling, and funnily enough, the champs that I feel benefit the most from auto animation cancelling are tanks. Try playing Maokai with and without animation cancelling, and the difference is night and day. Now we're getting on to the more critical skills. These final 4 are things you actually already do, which makes things easier. You already do them because they are fundamentals of the game and therefore the most valuable things to improve on. Number 4 is utilizing the minimap. Hopefully by now you've noticed the map in the bottom right, and if you haven't, then I'm really happy you found this video. The minimap is one of the most useful tools a League player has in their possession. It allows us to look at wave states, track enemies, and see who's fighting. Wave states is a video in its own right, but simply put, tracking waves allows you to plan gank routes and decide where on the map you're gonna make the most money. Tracking junglers is pretty self-explanatory. If you know where the jungler is, then you know when it's safe to fight and when you should back off. To check who's fighting, just look for when two champ circles are on top of each other. This is more useful when you have access to globals like Shen and Jinx ult. Also, trust me on this, your minimap is too small, so go into the client and make it at least 10 bigger. You'll thank me for it later. Now we move on to the final 3, and coming into bronze position is mouse positioning. Mouse positioning is a common issue with newer players, and it's one of the reasons I disliked free cameras when I was starting out. Mouse positioning is important as it allows for more fluid movement, and so dodging skill shots and kiting are much easier. It all boils down to a simple mantra: move less and click more often. What I mean by this is keep your mouse close to your character as a default. When moving, you don't have to move your mouse to the side of the screen. Keep it close to your character and keep right clicking. This allows you to adapt to danger much faster, as you don't have to travel as far with each click and shreds down reaction time. Of course, if you're playing an artillery mage or other long range champions, then your mouse will go over the enemy you're trying to hit, but as a standard, this improvement works wonders. Number 2 is one I'm sure you all have experience with: pings. The ping system is an amazing communication tool and saves lives every game. If you don't know, the control and left click combo will open up the ping wheel. These all have their uses, but I'm going to run through the most useful ways to use pings. As a jungler, using the on my way ping is key. The best way of using it is to paint the path you're going to take, so that your laner knows exactly where you'll be. No SS is something you'll constantly see in chat whenever the enemy laners roam, and there's a good reason for that. SSing saves lives. SS, or stay safe, is pinging missing in your lane when your opponent has been out of vision for a decent amount of time, usually 10 seconds. This alerts your teammates that the enemy could be out there hunting for them, and they should play conservatively for that time being. The final ping I want to touch on is one Riot hid away: the warded ping. To use this, you have to go into your settings and bind it, and it's super useful when you're helping your jungler out with ganks. And finally, our gold place mechanic that will guarantee success in League of Legends: CSing. Yeah, sorry if you're expecting something mind-blowing, but CSing, aka last hitting minions, is the best way of improving. Clearly this has less value to a support main, but secondary roles and autofill exist, so you can't escape laning forever. CSing is far more important than getting kills in lane. Lane management is the most impactful thing in the early game in high elo, because denying the enemy minions guts their income and allows you to build a large gold lead advantage at 15 minutes. It's the reason lane bullies can still be very successful without ever hitting the opponent. Their threat stops the enemy walking up and earning. CSing is the skill I'd recommend to any player to go into the practice tool and train. There's a reason pro players get their items so early into matches. They recognize the value of each humble minion. As a final note, always prioritize a melee over a ranged minion, and the cannon minion is worth more than 3 ranged minions at any point of the game. And that's everything. I hope you can pick up a few of the tricks I've mentioned and get a few more wins because of them. If you enjoyed this video, why not leave a like? And if you want to see more content like this, press that subscribe button. And I'll see you next time when we chat about wave management. Goodbye.